welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very new crochet tutorial for y'all, and it's this hat, Newsboy, BakerBoy hat, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a very autumn fall type of accessory, and I made the pattern myself, and I did a bit of a trial and error trying to get it right for y'all, but I really like how it turned out, and I want to show y'all how to make it. So hope you enjoy the video. Subscribe, like, share, whatever you want to do. Keep supporting my channel, and I appreciate every one of you that too. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we're first gonna start off with a slip knot, and for this part, chain as many chains that you think would work for the size of your head, specifically fitting around your head where a hat would normally sit. I chained 65, but keep in mind that the yarn does stretch, so don't chain too many, because then that would make it too loose and the hat won't fit as snug as it should. So I went ahead and chained 65 for the size of my head, and we are basically gonna connect once you have the chains that would work for your size. And then I went ahead and half double crocheted. I did a slip stitch to connect them, and I started again with the half double crochet, and you're basically gonna half double crochet all around until you get to the very end. To start the next row, I just slip stitched the first half double crochet that we started with on the previous row and half double crocheted on that same stitch, and you're just gonna half double crochet again all around until you reach the end. Once I had a total of 3 rows of this half double crochet, I chained 1 and fastened off so that we could set this piece aside and start on the top of the hat. And we will start off that with a magic ring, and we are going to half double crochet 10 into that ring space. Make sure that once you do have your magic ring, you start with a chain 1, and then you could start half double crocheting into the ring space. Once you have the 10 half double crochets, go ahead and slip stitch to connect, chain 1 and half double crochet 2 in that same stitch. And for the rest of this row, we're going to be half double crocheting 2 in each stitch for a total of 20. So in the previous row we have 10 half double crochets, and by the end of this row you'll have 20. Again, after each round, go ahead and slip stitch and chain 1. I half double crocheted 2 in the same stitch, and then on the next stitch I just did 1 single half double crochet, and then on the next one I did 2 half double crochets. So this will be the pattern for this round, or for this row: 1 half double crochet, then an increase of 2 in the same stitch, and then 1 half double crochet, and just continue this until you get to the end. So for this row, it's basically going to be the same as the previous row, but instead of having just 1 half double crochet in between the increase being the 2 half double crochets in the same stitch, you'll just have 2 half double crochets and then an increase. And this is basically the pattern for the rest of the rows that you want to create in order to make the top part of your hat. And like I said, you'll have 2 half double crochets and then an increase. The next row will be 3 half double crochets and then an increase, and then 4 half double crochets and then an increase, so on and so forth until you get the size that you want. And then once you have your 2 pieces, you are ready to connect them together to make the overall shape of the hat. For the circular part of the head, I ended up with 8 rows, and then I chained 1 and fastened off, and that is when I started to align that circular part to the band. and we are just basically gonna make a slip stitch all around to connect the two pieces. And it's okay if you ended up with a bit more chains from the circular part of your head compared to the band. Just keep on slip stitching, kind of eyeball it. But for me, I ended up just stitching every stitch kind of twice, sometimes in the stitch from the band, if that makes sense. All this to say that even if it comes out a bit bigger than the band itself, just make sure that you're still attaching every single one so that it's completely closed and fit together, and this is basically what it's gonna look like afterwards. For the bill part of the hat, I basically attached my hook to where I kind of had my previous ends, as you could see, hanging there as my guide as to how it's going to be centered, and I just half double crocheted across until I had 22 half double crochets. And you could honestly start fitting it on your head to see where the bill part could be centered. I again just kind of eyeballed it, so that's why I used my previous ends that were hanging as a sort of guide to where I could attach my hook, and that is when I just started half double crocheting 22 across. When I ended off the row, I slip stitched into the next stitch, and then I chained one, and that's when I turned it to start the next row. And instead of half double crocheting into the V, I inserted my hook underneath the half double crochet and half double crocheted from there. As you could see, I'm inserting my hook in between that space and coming out and rounding over to create the half double crochet. And when you do this across the row, it'll basically kind of lift up the half double crochets, if that makes sense. So this is basically giving that bill shape, and you just want to continue that until the end of the row. Once you're finished with the row, you can chain one and turn, and you could just then start half double crocheting as you normally would when you half double crochet into the V's rather than inserting your hook underneath and out. No, you're just going to be half double crocheting like normal across the row, and you'll continue this until you get the amount of rows that you would like for the bill. I made mine with just 4 rows, but you could definitely make your bill longer. That's your preference, but that is just what I did. I do just want to say that I give you the full step-by-step tutorial on how to create the shape of the hat, but I did not record when I went back and added 2 more rows of the half double crochet at the bottom of the hat, and I added these buttons and I added a rim here. So I'll explain how I did that in a little bit, but I don't show the step-by-step. I do apologize for that, but I do just want to let you know if it looks a bit different than when I ended off the step-by-step, it's because I went back and kind of modified it, but I'll show you how I ended up with this result. Like I said, I did go back and I added 2 more rows of half double crochets to the bottom of the hat, and when I did the rim across the bill here, I did that same technique when we first started the bill part where you inserted your hook underneath the half double crochet and came out and rounded over to complete the half double crochet, but this time I did it in single crochets and it got this effect. I also hand sewed some buttons, and that was the final result. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!